What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao, coming to you from Taipei. Taiwan's new president, Lai Ching-te, has taken his oath of office. In his inauguration speech, he called on China to stop its military intimidation of the country. Many international delegations were here for the ceremony, including representatives from Taiwan's 12 diplomatic allies and politicians from the U.S. and Europe. Rick Lauer begins our coverage.
Pomp, pageantry and national pride as Taiwan inaugurates its fifth directly elected president. 64-year-old Lai Ching-te of the Democratic Progressive Party, or the DPP, is making history. It's the first time any one party will hold the presidential office for 3 terms in a row since direct elections began.
此时此刻，我们不只是见证新政府的开始，也是再一次迎接得来不易的民主胜利。
Lai, who is also the preceding vice president, will govern with Bi Kim Hsiao as his VP. She's a former envoy to the US. Lai has big shoes to fill, taking over from widely popular Tsai Ing-wen, known for standing up to neighbouring China, which claims sovereignty over Taiwan and has become increasingly belligerent over Tsai's 8-year administration.
我也要呼吁中国，停止对台湾文攻武吓，一起和台湾承担全球的责任。 致力于维持台海及区域的和平稳定。
China has made its displeasure over a third DPP presidency known, labelling Lai a dangerous separatist. From this presidential office, Lai, like his predecessor, will have to balance defending Taiwan's sovereignty without overly antagonizing China. But he's facing a very different domestic political situation. While his party won the presidency in elections earlier this year, they lost control of the legislature. That's now in the hands of 2 opposition groups which disagree with Lai's stance on China, and he may now struggle to pass the bills he needs to make good on his national defense promises, particularly purchasing weapons from the US and funding domestic defense projects to keep China at bay. Outside his new office, a vibrant signal of this new president's values. Performances of Taiwan's unique culture watched by dignitaries from overseas. An optimistic vision of the Taiwan he hopes to foster during his 4-year term, but one that will require grit and determination under difficult local and global political conditions. Alex Chen and Rick Lauert for TaiwanPlus.
A lot of people turned up for the inauguration ceremony and the performances. Our reporter Joyce Zhen joined them to get a feel for their hopes for Taiwan under Lai's leadership.
At the presidential office, thousands of people have traveled across the country to catch a glimpse of their new president, Lai Ching-te, and to enjoy in the day's celebrations like this musical performance by a choir singing classic Taiwanese melodies. Now, people here tell me that what Taiwan needs most right now is unity, both domestically and with its global partners in the face of a growing Chinese threat to take away Taiwan's self-rule.
最需要就是要团结了，真的想让台湾要团结，但是还是看台湾人啦。我们台湾自己要凝聚那个心力，我们要一致的对外。
3党要团结我们台湾是最好的福报，这样子好，台湾也是很有自由的，我们台湾才会有前进，才会有国际观。
大家就是希望是和平的，对，两岸和平。对，
现在大陆习近平一直想要把台湾统一了，一定会施很大的压力了。那就我相信他最主要就是台湾的民主主权一定不能，民主自由主权一定不能忘，不然什么都没有嘛。
Taiwan's distinct and vibrant culture is front and center in celebrations here. Earlier we heard folk drum beats, then there was Taiwanese and Hakka rap, 2 languages representative of Taiwan. There was even a 10-meter tall rain horse, a character from a Hakka children's story meant to be a symbol of hope and Taiwan's diversity. But people here tell me it's Taiwan's political political diversity they're also worried about. Many pointed to the dramatic brawl in Parliament, which broke out just days ago over legislative reforms. No single party, including Lai's, has a legislative majority, and this fight between lawmakers is expected to continue when they resume discussions on Tuesday, just a day after Lai's inauguration. But for today, at least, the focus is on welcoming a new president, and people certainly have high hopes for Taiwan in the next 4 years. Joseph Wu and Joyce Sun at the presidential office for TaiwanPlus.
Now, it's no secret that one of Lai's biggest challenges will be dealing with an increasingly belligerent China. And now that Lai is officially sworn in, all eyes are on how Beijing will react. Jaime Ocon has been monitoring military activity around the island. Jaime, what's the latest?
Well, Taiwan is reporting 6 Chinese military aircraft and 7 warships operating in Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. Now, this is not Taiwan's airspace, but it is used by the military as a defensive buffer. Now, those 6 aircraft that I mentioned, that's a pretty low number, given the fact that China operates fighter jets in Taiwan's ADIZ on almost a daily basis to put pressure on Taiwan. And so these incursions are kind of like responses by Beijing to sensitive events regarding Taiwan. An example of a big incursion was back in 2022 when then U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi came to Taiwan and met with the president. It was a highly controversial meeting and it angered Beijing. And so China responded by sending almost 50 military aircraft into the ADIZ. So this is all about perception from China. However, it is important to note that the numbers we're getting from the military are as of 9 a.m. Taiwan time Monday morning. And that activity is from the past 24 hours. So as of our conversation right now, there could be activity added on later, but the military hasn't given us any more information. However, regardless, Lai Ching-te did mention in his inauguration speech this type of activity. He said, and I'll read this word for word, he said that China's military actions and gray zone coercion were the greatest strategic challenge to global peace and stability. And he also called out Beijing to stop its military harassment of Taiwan. Now, these comments are surely to anger Beijing, and we are expecting some kind of response, but when and where and to what degree is something that Taiwanese security officials here are looking out for.
Thank you, Jaime. That was Jaime Ocon reporting live in Taipei about China's recent military activity around Taiwan and what may come after Lai's inauguration. Now, with President Lai now in office, his leadership team, that's the cabinet, they're ready to get to work. They're selling themselves as an active and innovative team ready to lead the country. But as Tiffany Wong now reports, they do face some big challenges.
Called into action. Ahead of his inauguration, new President Lai Ching-te revealed his new cabinet ministers, those who will lead major government agencies in charge of national security, economic development, and social welfare policies. Heading it all will be new Premier Zhou Rongcai, who previously served as chair of the Democratic Progressive Party.
我也会要求所有的内阁团队成员对自己的业务、自己的政策要充满了信心。对于国人的需求，对于国会的监督，要诚恳、积极的沟通。
Ahead of their start in office, Lai also urged the new cabinet to gain public trust. With Lai only elected on 40% of the vote, he wants to signal his government will listen to a diverse set of voices. But many of the key positions, those relating to national security, are holdovers from outgoing President Tsai Ing-wen's cabinet, signaling continuity between the two administrations. Still, one minister stands out.
Minister of Defense is probably the most notable, shifting more towards having a true civilian control of the military that could actually result in some policy changes.
That's Wellington Gu, previous national security chief, and the first defense minister without the rank of general in over a decade. He'll direct the country's military in the face of growing pressure from China, which claims sovereignty over self-ruled Taiwan and has threatened to take it by force at any sign of independence. But the new cabinet must also tackle tough internal issues, including the phase-out of nuclear power, a policy carried over from Tsai's administration.
像绿能产业的部分，它没有办法，仍然没有办法让台湾有很稳定的能源来源。特别是在面临两岸情势紧张的情况下， 绿能的来源到底足不足够支应我们半导体产业的需要。
Tasked with addressing these issues are some unexpected faces, experts in their fields but new to politics. This includes the ministers in charge of the environment, the economy, and digital affairs.
The technocrats is trained very differently from people in the industry, and there are different working culture, different working pace. And so, to what extent industry people and bureaucrats can work collaboratively and successfully, I think that's the place I will watch.
Another area Lai's cabinet is sure to come under scrutiny over is gender equality. Political watchdogs say women face a higher barrier of entry in politics, something Lai promised to remedy during his campaign, promising that a third of cabinet members would be women. But he fell short of that promise. Of about 30 leadership-level ministry positions, only a fifth are filled by women.
In the legislative yuan, Taiwan has already had more than 40% of its legislators in the parliament being females, which means that there are more than enough capable females in the society ready to fill those positions. Having more diverse voice research has shown that would directly have positive impact on governance outcomes.
With immediate challenges to face at home and abroad, Lai's cabinet will need to use all its available expertise and experience if it's to succeed in the next 4 years. Andy Xue, Irene Lin, and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
China says its market is being flooded by a certain type of polymer, and it's launched an anti-dumping probe in response. While Taiwanese firms are not the only targets, Taiwan's inclusion in this probe has some people suspicious of Beijing's motives. John Van Trieste reports.
A sudden announcement from China's Ministry of Commerce has Taiwan on edge. The ministry says it's received complaints from chemical firms about foreign dumping in the Chinese market, specifically a tough polymer called polyformaldehyde copolymer. It's strong enough to replace metal in some machinery. And Taiwanese makers of the substance, alongside those from the US, EU, and Japan, will be subject to a Chinese trade probe. The probe will look at whether foreign firms dumped in the Chinese market between 2021 and 2024. It will take at least a year, and it's unclear what sanctions foreign firms could face in the end. But for Taiwan firms at least, the stakes are high. During that period, they sold over $2 million of the material to China, amounting to 60% of their exports. While Taiwanese firms aren't the only target, some in Taiwan find their inclusion suspicious. China claims Taiwan as part of its territory and has sanctioned a range of Taiwanese products in recent years, including fruit and seafood. It's something Taiwan sees as an attempt to pull it closer into Beijing's orbit. Some see a repeat of this tactic just as Taiwan inaugurates its next president.
这个时候呢，那么放出这个东西有点也是配合，就是说是一种按照邓小平以前说的，就是两手并进吧，这样子，就是说各种的手段一起并用，那么形成一种压力吧。
Taiwanese makers have 20 days to respond to China's announcement, and Taiwan's economy ministry says it will help them to do so and find alternate markets. Still, researchers say Taiwanese firms face a tough road ahead.
找其他的应用市场，然后找其他的应用的一个产品去分散掉这个风险嘛，哈。不过这个对产业来讲的话，短期内要去做这种转向都不是一个很容易的工作。万一调查属实，那我方现在如果说这个指控是不实的，我们怎么上诉，然后怎么去救济这样的一个产业？
Whatever Beijing's motives and intentions, the probe is a sign that cross-strait trade friction will continue, even as Taiwan welcomes a new president. Luffy Li and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has been confirmed dead after the helicopter he was in crashed in Iran's northwest. According to local media, all 9 people on board died, including the foreign minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian and other government officials. An Iranian official says that the helicopter was found burnt out after it suffered a hard landing in bad weather in a remote mountainous area. 4 Formosan black bear nests have been spotted in central Taiwan. Researchers found these nests while conducting field work in Dashuesan National Park. They were woven out of broken tree branches and they are extremely rare. The researchers say it's possible that the bears built the nests to easily access acorns. The endangered Formosan black bear is endemic to Taiwan, and it is the only bear species in the world that makes nests. Thanks for joining us today for What's Up Taiwan. I'm Eric Gao, and we'll see you later.